This is the Cholo News Report for Monday 15 January 2018. The Israel Defense Forces report the complete destruction of an underground tunnel dug by Hamas under the Kerem Shalom crossing. Israel shut down the crossing before its jets bombed the tunnel opening in Gaza Saturday night. The crossing remains closed. IDF spokesperson Brigadier General Ronen Manilis denied claims made by Hamas that the tunnel was merely intended for smuggling. In September 2016, a senior Israeli military official said a massive underground barrier being built along the Gaza border to defend against Hamas tunnels should be finished in a matter of months. Necessary coordination was made with Egyptian authorities, Israeli military spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus said. The Israeli military at first described the target as a terror infrastructure site, in a statement shortly after the strike, clarifying that it was a tunnel in a conference call with reporters Sunday. Israel blamed Hamas for building the tunnel and says it holds the Islamist group responsible for all actions emanating from Gaza. The U.S. LED coalition confirms reports that it will form a new 30,000 strong Syrian border security force. More Arabs will serve in areas along the Euphrates River Valley, and along the border with Iraq to the south. This makes almost certain that the US-designated terror group, Syrian armed YPG militia, will be deployed to the Turkish-Syrian border, a move that will further increase tensions in the area as well as with Washington. The national Iranian tanker company operated MV Sankey sinks, following its January 6 collision with a Hong Kong-flagged cargo ship off Shanghai, China, leaving no survivors. The Sankey and a cargo ship collided 260 kilometers off Shanghai on 6 January, with the tanker then drifting southeast towards Japan. The tanker was carrying 136,000 tons of ultralight crude, but Chinese officials say there is no major slick. A spokesman for the Iranian team, Mohammad Rastad, said there was no hope of finding any survivors. A 7.1 magnitude earthquake strikes in the Pacific Ocean near Akari in Peyu's Arequipa region, resulting in 1 death and 65 injured. The quake hit offshore at 4:18 a.m. local time, the U.S. Geological Survey said. Arequipa Governor Emilio Osorio said on Twitter that a 55-year-old man died in the town of Yorka after being crushed by rocks. President Pedro Pablo Kuczynski traveled to the towns of Cala and Akari, two of the areas most affected by the quake, to assess the damages and coordinate the response. The Tunisian government announces a wave of social and economic reforms after violent austerity protests that have resulted in at least 1 death and the arrest of more than 800 people. Demonstrations began on 7 January after the government raised value-added tax and social contributions, and increased some prices on goods in its 2018 budget. In the town of Thala, near the Algerian border, the army was called in on Wednesday after protesters burned down the national security offices, and police were forced to retreat. The announcement came after 2 hours of crisis talks at the presidential palace that included President Essebsi, political parties and trade unionists.